Age of Sigmar 4 is officially launching tomorrow. Now, all of the faction packs are available, the points are available, and one thing that people realize is that Manifestations, which is the new name for endless spells from the previous edition, as well as the Incarnates, the Kronspine, don't have a points value. Now, whilst most people's armies have generally gotten smaller because it feels like a lot of the points costs are about what feels like 10% higher, your army's going to be about 80 to 90% of the size from the previous edition, Manifestations or endless spells don't cost any points anymore. Now, in previous editions, faction terrain has always been free, and that's something I've always found weird. There's some armies will have a piece of, like a model that they bring to the table, a piece of terrain that functions and buffs their army, and other people might not have access to that because their army or faction doesn't have one, but there's no points cost associated with it, so it's kind of like a free buff. And that's kind of happening with Manifestations. So now your army is just functionally worse off, and so's your wallet, if you want to play Age of Sigmar using all the rules found in match play or whatever game you're playing. If you're playing the full game of Age of Sigmar, it's now more expensive to play. In Ossiarch Barubis in particular, because they're the ones I've been playing with, I played those on Friday night. They were super fun. The spells, the Manifestations, crazy cool. Well, the interesting and nice thing is that every army, when they are setting up, can take a terrain piece if they have one, but they can also take a manifestation lore, which is the endless spells, right? So obviously endless spells were super crucial in AOS 3, taking endless spells, but they all cost points. Now you'll notice that the Kronspine Incarnate and all of the endless spells, all the incantations, all the invocations, whatever, all the physical spells, endless spells, don't have a points cost because they are free. Okay, we spoke about this on Friday night when I was running the Ossiarch endless spells. They don't cost any points. So essentially, when you're picking your spells, like you choose a lore and all your heroes or your wizards know this lore, the one that you can choose. But you can also choose a manifestation or endless spells, right? And you choose a lore and then your wizards all know this lore as well, okay? So one of them for manifestation lore is a Kronspine Incarnate. So the Kronspine Incarnate is free now. Now it's a little bit different, but essentially it acts the same way. If it eats an endless spell, it heals 6, or kills an endless spell, it heals 6. And if it would be killed because it's an endless spell, it takes 6. But again, there's loads of different types of laws, as you can see. So let's have a look at the quick few, because these are in the General's Handbook, but I think they're also in the core rulebook. So you got Forbidden Power as a law, which is the Shards of Valagar, Lauchon, the Soul Seeker, the Horror Gas, and the Soul Scream Bridge. So if you were playing with one of those, you probably want to pick up all of those now. Purple Sun, Gravetide, Malevolent Maelstrom, and the Soul Snare Shackles are all one conjuration. Chronomatic Cogs, Quicksilver Swords, and the Ether Void Pendulum are all one. So these are all from the Malign Sorcery, I think it was called, but they've kind of like split them into separate ones. So Primal Energy, you got the Burning Head, the Emerald Light Swarm, and the Gnashing Jaws. And then Twilight Sorceries, you got Umbral Spell Portal, Geminids, and Prismatic Palisade. Essentially what you do is if you do have wizards, you are literally playing at a detriment by not taking some endless spells because they are free. And all you do is you go, I'm going to choose the Forbidden Power manifestation lore, and then I can bring the Shards of Valagar, Horror Gas, Soul Scream Bridge, and the Louch on the Soul Seeker, which is like feels a bit crazy, but it's nice that if you play your faction, you can take your faction and endless spells. But again, much like Age of Sigmar having this terrain thing, right, where if you have a faction pet terrain piece, it is free. Then you not only have to buy your army, you have to buy your terrain piece because it's free, so you're playing at a detriment without it. But also now you have to at least have a manifestation lore available of some sort of pack of endless spells because they're also free, so you're playing at a detriment without it. So you're probably looking at like 40-50 quid on models that are free that you just kind of have to have, because if not, you're just playing with like a hamstring, right? Pulling out well-painted bit of terrain to match your army, though, is kind of a Chad move. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they always looks cool, and I think endless spells themed to your army always look cool as well. But it's kind of like one of those things. If it costs points, you buy the ones you want. If you don't own them or you don't bring them, you're playing at a disadvantage, okay? So like, for example, I have the Chronomatic Cogs because the Cogs in the previous edition gave your entire army +2 move. What do they do now? Reroll charge rolls or subtract 1 to hit rolls for units within 12. So if I want to bring Cogs, which were really cheap, I would need to buy the Chronomatic Cogs, the Quicksilver Swords, and the Ether Void Pendulum now I can't just take the one I want. I have to take 3. Now, I don't have to bring 3. I probably might not even cast 3. But again, if you're taking the manifestation law, if you come without the 2 spells, then you are playing at a disadvantage. Can you even buy half of them? I think, do they not still come in 1 box? Then to get started, start here. There they are. There they are. But yeah, if you want that 1 manifestation law, you need all of these spells. Malign Sorcery's Lotta kit, 50 grade. Yeah, it's not a bad kit, but you're only going to be playing with like 3 of them at a time, right? Purple Sun is cool. The Purple Sun, see if I can find it. The Purple Sun was f***ing stupid. It doesn't have the same rules, thank God. The Purple Sun, in the previous game, on the Age Sigmar 3, basically you used to roll a dice, and on a 1, you used to eat a model within combat range. You roll a dice every model within range, and like on like a 6 or a 1 or something like that, it used to just like destroy models, like just eat them whole. So this is me playing against my friend JJ, and me with 2 more crushers next to each other.
Oh my God. This game's shit.
And what happened was the Purple Sun ate both of my Maw Crushers.
Okay, what happened? He just Purple Sun him, and he Purple Sun him. I have 10 Hobgrots left now. No.
It was stupid. It was honestly stupid. You just like roll a dice, and then on a 1 or on a 6 or something, it just eats the model. That was it. Just take it off. No ward save, no save, whatever. So I'm glad it doesn't do that anymore. But yeah, as you saw, it wasn't exactly a small piece of model. Forbidden Kirby of the Warp, yeah. So I own a Purple Sun, and now I have to buy, because I bought the Purple Sun on its own like an idiot, and the cogs on their own. So not only do I need to buy that, I need to buy the Grave Tide, the Malevolent Maelstrom, and the Soul Snare Shackles. You don't have to buy them, only if you're playing a meta army. No, you don't have to buy them, but you're playing at a disadvantage if you don't. Because your opponent can bring on some endless spells, like we saw in that game that we played on Friday, right? I was just bringing on 3 units. I was bringing on the Bird and the Nightmare. God, my stream quality is fucking fire, chat. Look at that. Isn't it great? I could watch the shit out of this. But yeah, you can just, because you can bring them on and it costs you no points, you're playing at a disadvantage. Because the games are balanced with the fact that I'm bringing manifestations with my army because they've got a wizard. But it's just like you are just playing at a disadvantage. You don't need to have them, but your army's just worse for no reason. I just wish they tacked onto the manifestations and faction terrain and balanced that way, so I didn't feel like you were required to buy them if you didn't want them. Yeah, again, you don't have to buy them, but it's just, if you are playing a mirror match, your opponent can bring them for no extra cost, you know, which is weird. It's weird. Oh, faction terrain, God, it can just be scenery. Yeah, I think faction terrain's a bit cringe. You know, I think if you can like summon it into the game via a unit, so you paid for it, like the Slugman, the Horticlix Slimex, can summon trees. That's fun. But like when you have to bring one because it like benefits your army, it's just weird. If you're playing for fun with your friends, you don't have to use them. If you're playing competitively and wanting to win, I think you were misunderstanding me then, Nick. That's all. As I said, you are playing at a disadvantage if you don't have them. You don't have to use them. No one has to use them. You don't have to use dice if you don't want to. You can just make noises and kill each other. But all I'm saying is if you're playing a game and you pick up a game and you're like, hey mate, do you fancy a game Friday night? You know, turn up, you've both got exactly the same list, and you've not brought faction terrain or endless spells, and your opponent has. They've got a better army for no reason. If you're not being a massive sweat when you're playing against your mates, are you really playing Warhammer? True. So yeah, that's all I'm saying is like, it's just weird that you can have such an advantage for no points cost. There's no difference other than one of you's bought them and the other one hasn't. Whereas most of the time, one of you has an advantage because, doesn't have an advantage because you're paying them the same amount of points, right? What I mean is only an issue if you're playing competitive, because if it's a friendly, you should be able to say no to terrain or spells. But yeah, but then you're not playing in Warhammer Age Sigmar. You're playing Warhammer Age Sigmar with custom rule by saying we're not using terrain, which is fine. But if most people don't play custom rules, they play what rules they have in front of them. I've tried to sit here for many years to go, you don't need to buy the latest mission pack. Buy an old one and play that, you know? But I always get told I'm stupid because pickup games, people always have to play the newest thing with the latest rules, with the exact map pack or whatever, and it doesn't happen. So now you decide to sound like me, but argue with me but being for the thing that I've said multiple times in the past. So where do I stand? Where do I stand, basically? If you don't have to buy anything new, you can download all the rules for free and use handbook from 5 years ago if you want to, because all the missions are from there anyway. I've tried that, and every time I say that, people say, well, when I have pickup games, you have to play the latest thing. So now I'm saying, if you're playing the latest thing, you have to buy the terrain, you have to buy endless spells, because you're playing at a disadvantage. And now I'm being told that you don't have to. Not everyone wants to play like that. I'm like, where am I? Where am I? People can't play without GW holding their hands. Exactly. So yeah, you can do what you want. Ultimately, if you play it at home, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. However, if you play the game as per the rulebook that I've got in front of me, you are playing at a disadvantage without terrain and without endless spells. If you have a wizard of some sort. But yeah, you can say, I don't want to play those. That is also fine. But as per the rulebook, if you're playing a game with the rulebook and using everything in the rulebook, you're playing at a disadvantage. Because it's weird that endless spells and terrain doesn't cost points. That's what I'm trying to say. Do what you want at home, I don't care. I'm too tired today. I'm too tired. I'm too ratty. I'm very ratty today. I think I made a video about it. I'm sure you don't need this Hellstorm. Maybe this isn't for you. I made a video 2 years ago.
But the problem is...
Here we go.
Is this is being marketed as a grand tournament mission pack.
Cook!
So...
Cook, Mikey, cook!
Who don't play tournaments and play casually. But play match play. They play matched play, okay?
You play match games, but you play casually.
If you don't play tournaments, you don't have to play these missions. I think that's what people are struggling. Either I'm missing
He's so brave!
You guys know.
He's so brave and so powerful!
Maybe I'm missing something, but if you don't play tournaments and you just play with the same people week in, week out, why would you buy this mission pack if you don't want to? Okay? If you want to play new missions, you want to spend 20 quid or whatever it's going to be, fair enough, okay? But if you play matched play with your friends, but you just play with the same group of people, there's matched play missions in the core rulebook, which you need to play.
Whoa!
There's a chapter approved.
Is there?
Like, that's 20 quid now, which you probably have, which has loads of missions in there as well. And the new one, the 2020 version, or 2021 version, which you might not have bought.
I might not have.
It's going to be really cheap on eBay soon.
It is.
This one, in 6 months' time. It's going to be like really, really cheap.
So there we go. I cooked then, and I'm cooking now. Okay? If you don't want to play this, don't fucking play it. But every time I do this, I get loads of people in the comments being like, I agree, you don't need these. Technically, however, it's going to create an even bigger divide between casual and competitive players. Just full of people saying, oh, well, don't fucking, I don't want, well, we have to play the new one. We have to, because everyone else plays a new one, you know? And it's like, well, now I'm saying, well, if you play the new one, you have to do this. Everyone's like, well, I don't have to play that one. Fucking, I can't win. I'll never win, Willow, let's be honest. Back when the lad had decent hair. If you think I got decent hair there, that's cringe. Because my hair's basically the same. So I got a logo on the back. I look fuckable now. Honestly, my biggest criticism of GW in recent years is all the extra bits you need to play now. Can't forget your unique cards, shoebox of tokens, and magic spell models. Yeah. There's quite a lot, you know? It's all these little extra things. It's like, it's cheap. They're relatively cheap individually, but it's adding it all together, right? And like, yeah, to play Age of Sigmar, before you buy a model for the army, you need the General's Handbook, access to the core rules which are free, access to the cards which are free, but you need the General's Handbook, you need endless spells and terrain feature in most armies. I think the only army that doesn't need either is Cowards and Overlords. I think that's the only one, because it doesn't have faction terrain, it doesn't have wizards. Cowards and Overlords, the only army that doesn't function like an Age of Sigmar army either, because it shoots and it doesn't fight in combat. Also doesn't have terrain or endless spells.